when I put out this album, I'm gonna go gold because the time is now. The time wasn't right then, you know what I'm saying? It was a little off time. The time is now.
Big L was that dude. The one with bars so sharp they could slice steel.
They beat the nigga so bad, he told us who did it. He told, it got back to the city that the guys that did it, it was like, yo, Big L did that.
His storytelling, next level. But what most folks don't talk about is the other side of Big L.
Every time I went to Harlem and see Big L that he was gonna fight, he thought he would fight in your size, like the biggest in the world. He's like this. I'm like, oh my God.
The side that wasn't just spitting rhymes, but living that raw street life at the same time. He wasn't just a rapper. He was a problem if you ever crossed him. Big names in the game still talk about how he didn't hesitate to throw hands if it came down to it. His rep wasn't just in the booth. It was in the streets, too. Even after he started building real heat in the rap world, Big L never completely walked away from the street grind.
When you roll bikes, we drove fives. There's no comparison, son. Just embarrassing. I'm running with some of the bad men in the whole.
Growing up in Harlem, that lifestyle ran deep. He was down with a crew called NFL, not the Football League. This was a Harlem street clique run by his older brother, Big Lee. And because of that connection, L got pulled into some wild situations that weren't just rumors. They were real. One of the biggest stories, his fallout with Mase. Yep, that Mase. In 2024, Mase finally broke his silence about their rocky past during an episode of It Is What It Is. Both of them repped Harlem, and back in the day, they were even part of the same rap crew, Children of the Corn.
Yo, this thing Al is crazy, man. He was a big gambler. You know, Big Al would gamble all the time, and, you know, he would fight like big.
That squad had some serious future legends. Cameron, Bloodshed, and Herb McGruff all came up with them. The crew started forming around 1993, but Big L had already been making noise before that. He was tearing up mixtapes with that fire wordplay, earning him props in the underground scene. Then came his debut album, Lifestyles Off the Poor and Dangerous, in 1995. Boom.
When the dude get locked up, he goes into jail, start calling me, yo, in here that just took y'all watch or something, you know. And got crazy on the dude in jail. They beat the so bad, he told us who did it. He told, it got back to the city that the guys that did it, it was like, yo, Big L did that.
Critics gave him his flowers, and the streets respected it heavy. But in '96, Mase took a whole different route. He signed with Bad Boy Records, and just like that became a chart-topping star. And that's when things between him and Big L started getting weird. According to Mase himself, Mase also dropped a bomb. He said Big L started copying some of his rhyme patterns, especially his way of flipping syllables. That didn't sit right with him at all. So he decided to bring it up. But according to Mase, that convo went south real fast. Things got heated, and instead of backing down, Big L doubled down. Mase said L wasn't trying to hear any criticism, not even a little bit. And then, L pulled a move straight out the street playbook. He brought in some muscle. According to Mase, Big L went and got Fat Joe involved. Yeah, that Fat Joe. From the Bronx rap crew DITC. The same crew L rolled with. Mase remembered the whole thing like it was yesterday. He said, I told L I'll knock you out. You know I know you, dude. He went and got Fat Joe on me. He got some Bronx dudes because he couldn't find nobody else. And then it really got wild. Mase said he was chilling in the Tunnel, the legendary NYC nightclub, when Fat Joe rolled up on him. No friendly hello either. This was tension you could feel in the air.
Before we got on, it was like L.
Yeah,
you know, he was
right.
he was a guy, he took us everywhere, the rap. And then when I got on, it was like the whole wave changed. It was like, this is what it looks like when a really get on.
But that wasn't the end of it. Things took an even darker turn later on. Mase talked about another moment that shook him. He was back in Harlem just vibing with his childhood homie God Shamgod, who, years later, would go on to coach in the NBA. They were just kicking it in the neighborhood when out of nowhere, a robbery jumped off.
He started using a few of my lyrics, like different compounds that I was using. That's when you make two words rap at the same time. So I checked the nigga.
Not just words, syllables.
Yes.
Mase said he played it smart. took his time slipping off his watch, and tossed it near a car tire before making a run for it with Sham God. Lucky for them, cops were nearby and caught the would-be thief not long after. Even crazier, they recovered the watch. But what came next? Straight up insane. Mase said he started getting calls from people he knew locked up with the robber. And during a jailhouse beatdown, the dude spilled the tea. He allegedly confessed that Big L had set the whole thing up. Fat Joe later confirmed the wild story in an interview. But from his point of view, he felt like Big L low-key played him that night. According to Joe, L pulled up to him at the tunnel, looking serious, saying he had some drama and needed backup. And since they were cool through the DITC crew, Joe didn't ask questions. He pulled up deep with his people, ready for action. But once they got inside, Joe said he got hit with a surprise he didn't see coming. The beef L wanted help with was actually with Mase.
And I walked up 40th on 7th to 41st, and a Spanish just run out of nowhere like, yo, give it up, I'm gonna kill both of you.
Joe was caught off guard. He had no clue he was stepping into drama between two Harlem dudes who already had tension brewing. He just stood there, watching them go at it, while Big L started getting more aggressive and even looked at Joe like, you gonna jump in or what? Joe didn't like the position he was put in, not one bit. He admitted that moment probably shifted how Mase viewed him from then on. It felt like trust got broken right there. Looking back, Joe even said it was a messed up situation, one he had no idea he was walking into. But that wasn't the only tension surrounding Big L. There were whispers in the streets about an unconfirmed rivalry between Big L and the notorious B.I.G. And even though it was never labeled a full-blown beef, the vibes were definitely off. Here's where it gets crazy. Before Biggie ever blew up under Bad Boy, Diddy was apparently checking for Big L first. Back in the early 90s, while Diddy was still at Uptown Records, he was scouting talent, and L was on his radar heavy. But by 1992, Big L had already inked a deal with Columbia, so that opportunity slipped away. Then came Biggie. Not long after, Diddy linked with him, and once Bad Boy Records launched, Biggie was front and center as the label's breakout star. After that, Biggie's career exploded. The man went straight to the top, platinum hits, non-stop radio play, and global fame. But here's where things get interesting. Aside from both having Big in their names, Big L and Biggie had a lot more in common than people realize. Both were absolute beasts on the mic, lyrical assassins who were feared and respected in the New York rap scene, and both had tight ties with none other than Jay-Z.
They beat the so bad, he told us who did it. He told, it got back to the city that the guys that did it, it was like, yo, Big L.
Everyone remembers Jay and Biggie going bar for bar on classics like Brooklyn's Finest. But Jay had history with Big L too, real history. That 1995 freestyle session on Stretch and Bobado's show, iconic. Jay-Z and Big L went toe-to-toe in one of the most legendary freestyle battles ever caught on tape. And to this day, people still say Big L came out on top. Now sure, Biggie took that commercial lane and became a household name, while Big L stayed underground and gritty. But that doesn't mean they didn't cross paths. Word is, L even opened up a few shows for Biggie on tour, which shows there was some kind of working relationship between them, at least professionally. But here's where things start to get murky. Around the time Big L dropped his debut album Lifestyles Over the Poor and Dangerous in 1995, drama started bubbling. One of the standout tracks off that project was MVP, which featured a smooth sample from DeBarge's Stay With Me. Now, not long after that, Biggie released One More Chance. And guess what? It used the exact same sample. Fans and insiders couldn't help but connect the dots. Some even claim Biggie's track might have been inspired by, or even lifted from, MVP. Big L never publicly called it out, but the streets noticed. Whispers started floating around that things got tense, not necessarily between Big L and Biggie personally, but between their camps. That's when it started getting real in the streets.
Yo, come over to me, right? He like, yo, Crack, I need you. I said, yo, what's up? You know, Big L, my little brother. Yeah. I said, yeah, what's up? Nah. I got to holler at this and this.
Big L's older brother, Big Lee, had a solid connection out there. A street dude named Reg, who was tight with the Harlem Crew NFL and also linked to serious names like Black, just from the infamous Supreme Team. Reg wasn't someone you played with. According to Word on the Block, Reg ran into a junior MAFIA member at a Chinese spot and didn't just press him, he straight up robbed him. He supposedly froze him up with a hard stare, pulled a strap, and snatched his chain. But here's the kicker. That chain, rumor had it, it was the same exact one Biggie had been seen rocking in an episode of Martin. Wild, right? After that incident, junior MAFIA was fired up. They were hunting for Reg, ready to get that chain back. But Reg, he wasn't sweating it. Word from the streets said he told them straight up, if they wanted it back, they'd have to come take it in blood. He wasn't handing over nothing. Meanwhile, back at the legendary Tunnel nightclub, the Sunday night hotspot in NYC, Big L was a regular. People who were around back then say every time he pulled up, he'd borrow a chain from Reg. Gotta keep that flashy image, especially in a room full of industry heads and street kings. And here's where it gets even messier. The chain Big L was wearing on some of those nights. Yeah, rumor has it that was the chain, the one jacked from junior MAFIA, maybe even originally owned by Biggie himself. But no matter how deep the street drama ran, that's not the full story on Big L. What truly made him unforgettable wasn't just the heat in the streets. It was that unmatched lyrical talent and his real love for the rap game. Big L truly loved the art of rap, and you could feel that passion in every single bar he dropped. That raw energy, that clever wordplay, it's what made the streets and the industry respect him heavy. Born Lamont Coleman on May 30th, 1974, in Harlem, New York, Big L was the youngest of 3 kids in a household that had it rough. His pops dipped out when he was still just a little boy, leaving his mother to hold it all down alone with 3 sons. They were packed into a tiny 2-room apartment on 139th Street and Lenox Avenue, the very block that would one day become iconic thanks to L's rise. As the baby of the family, everyone called him Little L growing up. But don't let the nickname fool you.
Pulls up to Mase and Biggie, man.
Oh, man.
And I'm standing with L.
Even as a kid, he had that spark. He stood out. One moment flipped the switch for him forever. His older brother, Donald, aka Z, took him to a Run DMC concert at the Beacon Theater. L was only 7, but watching legends rock the stage lit a fire in his soul. After that night, something clicked. He caught the bug. And by the time he hit 12, hip-hop had become his whole world. He was glued to the music, studying lyrics, vibing with mixtapes, and trading freestyles with neighborhood kids every chance he got. For him, this wasn't just something to pass the time. This was real love, real dedication. By 1990, at just 16 years old, he was already sharpening his pen game and writing serious rhymes, ready to make his mark. Around then, he linked up with 2 friends, Doc Ream and Rodney, and they formed a short-lived rap crew called 3 the Hard Way. The group didn't last long, but it was the first real step for L. Proof he was serious about the game and already looking to level up. Big L was locked in on making it in the rap game, laser focused. But the people around him, not so much. After Rodney dipped from the group, they rebranded as Too Hard Muthas. But that didn't last either. Still, those early starts taught L some real lessons. How to stay hungry, keep pushing, and never wait on nobody else to believe in your dream. Then in the summer of 1990, everything changed. That's when Big L crossed paths with Lord Finesse, a respected rapper and producer who already had serious buzz in the underground. They met during an autograph signing at a record shop on 125th Street. And L? He wasn't the type to sit back and wait for a shot. He stepped right up and spit a freestyle on the spot. That moment left a mark, and it sparked a connection that would help launch his career to the next level. At the same time, L was still doing his thing at Julia Richmond High School, where he kept sharpening his bars and making noise. Even while finishing up school, he was becoming a known name in Harlem. People saw him everywhere, ripping through freestyle battles in hallways, spitting on street corners, lighting up house parties, and grabbing mics at block jams. In his final interview, Big L looked back on those early days and said, "In the beginning, all I ever saw me doing was battling everybody on the street corners, rhyming in the hallways, beating on the wall, rhyming to my friends. Every now and then, a house party grabbed the mic, a block party grabbed the mic."
Oh man, y'all niggas is wild. Yo, Jay, man, that Jay need to get up to Big L anytime
By 1992, Big L wasn't just another kid with a dream. He was already moving serious in the game, recording demos that would later shape the blueprint for his legendary debut album. Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous was Big L's big statement to the world, but even before that official debut, he was already making serious moves. That same year, he popped up on Yo MTV Raps next to his mentor Lord Finesse to help promote Finesse's album Return of the Funky Man. It was L's first real taste of the spotlight, and he made sure people remembered his name. His first major break came when he was featured on the remix of Yes You May, the B-side to Lord Finesse's Track Party Over Here. That verse, pure heat. Not long after, he landed an album feature on Represent from Showbiz and AG's Runaway Slave. These early appearances were small to the world, but huge for L. They set the stage for the takeover Harlem had been waiting for. Around this time, his pen game was unquestionable. He entered a massive freestyle battle thrown by Nubian Productions, and out of nearly 2,000 hungry MCs, Big L walked away with the crown. That win just confirmed what his block already knew. L wasn't just nice, he was a lyrical problem. Then in 1993, Columbia Records came knocking and signed him. It was go time. Soon after, he dropped his first promo single Devil's Son, a dark, wild record L described as one of the first real horrorcore tracks. The vibe was intense, inspired by his love for horror flicks and the gritty life he'd seen firsthand in Harlem. The track caught attention fast, but Big L didn't want to be boxed in. He made it clear. That same year, L decided to build something bigger. He brought together some of Harlem's rawest young talent to form a new rap group, Children of the Corn, or COC for short. The crew was stacked with future legends: Cameron, aka Killer Cam, Ma Che, then Mase, Bloodshed, and McGruff. Harlem was cooking up something serious, and Big L was right at the center of it.
In a record store, I told him nice, put me on. He told me to drop for him. I dropped, he liked it. We exchanged numbers. He started letting me open his shows. Then he put me on his remix single and all.
Together, Children of the Corn started building serious buzz in the underground. Their chemistry was raw, their hunger was real. But just as things were picking up, tragedy struck. In 1997, Bloodshed, Cameron's cousin and one of the group's original members, passed away in a car crash. That devastating loss hit the crew hard and slowed their momentum. But Big L kept pushing. Back in 1994, he dropped his second promo single, I Shoulda Used a Rubber, a wild, cautionary tale laced with his signature punchlines and streetwise humor. It was gritty, clever, and packed with the kind of storytelling only L could pull off. By 1995, he dropped his long-awaited debut album Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous. It entered the Billboard 200 at number 149, but climbed its way up to number 22 on the top R&B hip-hop albums chart, a solid move for an underground artist with no commercial polish. That album brought the heat, with bangers like Put It On and MVP lighting up the Billboard Hot Rap Tracks chart. Even though it wasn't a massive commercial success, Lifestyles made one thing clear. Big L was cut from a different cloth. His wordplay was surgical, his flow was slick, and his punchlines lethal. But not everything was smooth behind the scenes. Creative differences with Columbia Records started bubbling, and by 1996, they dropped him. L later opened up about it, saying he felt completely out of place at Columbia. Surrounded by suits who didn't get his sound or his vision, it was clear the label didn't know how to handle an artist like him. Still, Big L didn't fold. In 1997, he jumped right back into grind mode and started cooking up his second studio album, The Big Picture. That same year, he officially joined the legendary Diggin' in the Crates crew, DITC, linking with heavyweights like OC, Lord Finesse, and Showbiz.
Apes, we sold pies. When you roll bikes, we drove fives. There's no comparison, son. Just embarrassing them.
He started popping up in On The Go magazine and dropped fire collabs like Dangerous with OC. In 1998, he even took the show overseas, hitting Europe as the opening act on OC's Jewels tour. No label, no problem. L was still making noise across the globe. Big L wasn't waiting on nobody anymore. He took control of his destiny and launched his own independent label, Flamboyant Entertainment. His mission was clear: drop real hip-hop with zero gimmicks. No corny top 40 samples, no watered-down R&B hooks, just raw, unfiltered bars straight from the streets. Under Flamboyant, he dropped one of his most legendary tracks, Ebonics. It was more than just a song. It was a lyrical blueprint breaking down African-American vernacular English, bar for bar, with that signature Big L flair. The Source even named it one of the top 5 independent singles of the year. That track alone stamped L as a straight-up lyrical genius. No debate. His wave was getting so strong that it even caught the attention of Damon Dash, CEO of Rockefeller Records. Dame saw the potential and made an offer to bring L onto the Rock. Big L was interested, but he had one condition. He wasn't leaving his people behind. He wanted to bring his crew with him. So in early 1999, talks began to sign Big L along with Herb McGruff, C-Town, and even Jay-Z under a collective known as the Wolfpack. Everything was lining up. Big L was finally about to break into the mainstream in a major way. But just as the next chapter was about to begin, everything came to a heartbreaking end. In February 1999, before any of those plans could come to life, Big L's story was tragically cut short. His legacy, though, untouchable. If you made it this far, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear about one of hip-hop's greatest lost legends. See you on the next one.